I need to talk slash vent. So there was a bunch of noise upstairs. I was getting annoyed because I was trying to literally work on this track that I'm making, and so I went upstairs to go check it out, and found out that my baby mama had come home. So I was like, "Oh, okay, I didn't know you were home." But she came home with a fucking storm. Like, his full on negativity coming at me left and right, just cutting me down. Like, I need to vent about this because there's something that I noticed whenever she was doing it, and it was something I've never really it's like something I've always known, but like I really consciously, like with my third eye, saw it full on this time. The wound and the mask that women have worn past by being passed down throughout family after family after family from these demonic fucking entities that are within these fucking family structures. And demonic entities in the sense of like these entities will enter your family and push out things like control, shame, things that are the opposite of divine light. Okay, divine light is all about love, freedom, things like that. Shame, one of the lowest uh, human emotions a human can feel, is actually very demonic because demons operate at a low frequency. God is the highest frequency. Demons are low frequency, so the lowest vibration is going to be the most. You see how that works. So I saw everything. I clocked it, and I need to go into that because this is super important. There's a lot of truth telling I had to get out. A lot of fucking prophecy. But yeah, she came home trying to guilt me, throwing jabs at me. Like, I don't even know. I was changing the batteries for his fucking bubble machine, and she's like, "Your mother's stupid." She always refers to me as their mother. Your mother's stupid. Your mother's this, and I asked. I was like, why do you always, cut me down? Like, why can't you ever say anything fucking positive? It's always like, Ashley's this, Ashley's that, Ashley's a negative. Like, I was like, you remind me of the mother of like this woman that I love, that's in my life, that her mother does the same thing, always cutting her down. Like, you're a whore, you're a slut, you're this, you're ruining the family's image, you're ruining the family's name. Literally the same shit that my adoptive mother did not only to my sister, but also to me. There was times growing up, I remember, where I started to express my femininity, started to come into myself, started to find myself to be bisexual. And my mother was like, "Oh, you can't be bisexual because, you know, the God's against that or whatever." And we actually got into a huge fight, like to the point like she was like twisting my ear and shit like that. But like, and like beating on me and shit. Like, and this was never talked about. It was always like a secret from the family. But like, there was times, I remember one time she told me that I was lit because I asked her I really wanted to do cheerleading. All the girls wanted me to do cheerleading. I was friends with only girls growing up in high school and stuff. And so I was like, I was already doing sports. I was already in wrestling and stuff, but I wasn't really able to connect with none of the boys. So I was like, I'm going to connect with the girls. And at the time, her granddaughter, my adoptive mother's granddaughter, so my adoptive niece or whatever, was in like cheer competition. So I got inspired and was like, yeah, I want to do this. This looks like fun. My adoptive mother told me that like made me look like a faggot, and that me being a faggot was an embarrassment to the goddamn family. Literally pushed shame onto me, guilt, told me that I was unworthy of love. There was one time I said that I wanted to be a firefighter, and they would joke and be like, saying how like I would never be able to be a firefighter because I would cry about breaking my nail. Like, just like derogatory, like demeaning of fucking jokes and comments about femininity and the feminine in general. And I see the same thing happening with another mother, with somebody I fucking love, and happening not only just there, but I zoom out and I started looking at other fucking people, other women coworkers that I worked with at Kennywood last year, and I start to see like their mothers and like, bro, the same thing. Like, okay, like you have to understand this. This isn't just happening with like this woman I love and her mother. Like her mother like shaming her and shit. Like this is a pattern. Like this whole control thing's a fucking pattern. Okay, like I went to Kennywood, bro. I swear to God that we had this one girl. I don't know, I think she was autistic or something. But her mother was always right next to her, always up her ass. And that's a thing. So that's another thing that I need to touch on, because growing up, I never got to have a fucking social life as a teenager. I didn't have a fucking childhood because I was taken from my parents when I was 6 years old. And then I bounced from home to home and home until I was adopted at 12 or 13. And by that time, I was already an outcast at school because I was being raised in the middle of fucking Pennsylvania, out in the country, and where there's a bunch of hillbillies and rednecks, and it's all picket white fences, and like, well, it's actually best not even that. It's basically old ghost towns, really. It's like, it's small ghost towns, really. But like, so I just didn't fit in. Me being eccentric and flamboyant, and just being who the fuck I am, the creative type. Like, I just didn't fit into that scene or that area. So I didn't really get to make that many friends, and then the friends I did have, I never really got to hang out with because uh, I either felt guilty for asking my mother to take me somewhere, or because she was always busy or going somewhere anyways, or like I just was never allowed to go anywhere because like my mother was be afraid that I was gonna hook up with a boy, or if I hooked, like, at first she didn't let me hang out with girls by like too much, like, because she was like, you might get them pregnant. But then when she realized I was bisexual, it's like, oh, you can't hang out with boys either. And so I never really got to have like a fucking like social life. I never got to like, and so whenever I left the house, whenever, like, you know what I mean, like, and I was actually like staying, like, actually left, like, because I went from there to live with my dad, and then after my dad I went to Pittsburgh. I had $40 to my name. Okay, I got a bus ticket from Denora, took the Mon Valley bus all the way to downtown Pittsburgh, and then I met with this guy that I was seeing at the time. His name was Scott. Shout out to Scott. Uh, he ended up picking me up. We went up north a bit, up by the Galleria, wherever that is. I forget the area, but if you know, you know. Uh, I stayed with him for a bit before he came, and we ended up like breaking up or something like that. Not because of us, mostly because of his mom. Really, actually. Damn. Okay, so this hasn't even just happened with just women in my life, like me dating the women in my life. This also happened with the men I've dated in my life. Like, that's so fucking insane and crazy to think about and talk about. Like, and even just like realize and recognize right now. Like, anyway, she's trying to guilt me. She comes home, she's trying to guilt me, trying to shame me, and then like she'll say things like, but I paid for you guys to like hang out with me, and I'm like, and I appreciate that. Like, I don't know, like what's that got to do with right now with what I'm talking about, like with the context at hand, like what's that got to do with anything? And like, excuse me, and like she said to me, well, you're just ungrateful. I was like, what does my gratefulness have to do with what I'm talking about at this like current moment? I was like, I was never ungrateful. I said thank you. And she's like, well, I feel like you were. I was like, well, just because you feel as though it was doesn't mean I actually was. But we can talk about it and get to the source of it. Like, you know, let's work through it. And so like I just started listening, and like it was crazy because like I started to feel the pressure on her, and then like I got like all of a sudden PTSD because like to the point that I had to emotionally shut down because I was looking at her and I just saw my biological mother. Not in her body, not in her physical form. It wasn't like she shapeshift, but it was in the energy, bro. The pressure, the way she was looking, the way she felt so alone. Like, it was the same energy as my mother. I felt so fucking bad, like, and heavy that, like, I just, like, I tried to stick around for as much as I could, and I probably looked awkward and uncomfortable. And I was trying to vibe and connect with her because I could tell she hadn't seen me all day, that she was trying to connect and vibe. And like, so I was trying to give her that and be that for her, but like, I ended up having to walk away because it just became too much. But anyways, as I was saying, continuing, so much narcissism and ego, I couldn't even get an apology. And that's something I feel bad for these girls, because I feel like the same for my sister, or like if my mother had gone to her mother, or even if my friend goes to her mother like years later, like, you're never gonna get that apology. You're never gonna get that, I'm sorry I hurt you, I'm sorry I betrayed you, I'm sorry because like, unless your fucking mother is the type of mother who is like me and is willing to actually go into the fucking dark, actually sit with their shadow, actually face the uncomfortable truths, actually do the work to like transmute. If they are not able to and equipped to do that or handle that shit, you are never going to get that apology. You are never going to get the accountability from your mother for all the trauma they caused, all the abuse they caused, everything, the destiny swapping. That's another thing that I need to talk about. That's a huge fucking thing that these mothers do in my life. These mother figures do in my life. Okay, they all have this little thing where they like to try the fucking destiny swap. Okay, and now what is destiny swapping? I call it destiny harvesting, personally. But before I go into that destiny swapping, I have to rewind and go back, because there was a point that I didn't make that I really wanted to make when I was bringing up the whole narcissism and like the control thing and the image thing. I don't know if I brought it up about my experience about how my adoptive mother didn't want me to do cheer or anything like that, because in her eyes it made me a faggot, and being a faggot was embarrassing to the family name, and protecting the family name was much more important than her own kids' happiness. I have a friend right now who literally, her anxiety in public goes away whenever she's around me. She feels like home whenever she's around me. We literally push each other to fucking grow. We push each other into our shadows to make each other fucking grow. Nobody else, like, and like, that's a rare thing. Okay? That's a rare fucking thing. Sorry, spirits were distracting me. I saw a child ghost. Like, oh, if you're wild or like promiscuous, you're embarrassing the family name, you're a whore, I gotta disown you. Like, if I ever catch you having sex, like, I'm gonna disown you. Like, same thing with my fucking father, bro. My father told me that if I ever embraced like womanhood, or because, you know, me being a hermaphrodite, I'm both male and female. I have oviotestes, and technically my vagina rewired to my butt, so my butt naturally self lubricates like a vagina, is warm like a vagina. And I've been told by multiple men who've been inside me that it does not feel like anal, it feels like vaginal sex. But I digest. I'm just making a point. As somebody who's biologically both sexes, this wasn't known. Actually, I didn't know until I went and got like tests done. I actually thought I was trans when I was like 18 or whatever. It took me thinking I was, or being convinced that I was trans, because I was actually just always naturally more feminine. But when I came to Pittsburgh and I didn't have a support system, I didn't have any friends or anything like that, I was able for anybody to really like, easy for anyone to manipulate me. And that's the thing, is that I'm noticing that, you know, my friend's going through this arranged marriage, which, by the way, is fucking evil. That's an example of fucking destiny swapping right there. Arranging a marriage that the person doesn't want to be in, and keeping them from the one that they actually want to see, and seeing them, their soul get fucking destroyed. And you're like, oh no, I'm still going to send you with this person because I may die soon, and you're going to be better with them because they're a safer option, and they'll take better fucking care of you. Because, like, what? Like how are they going to take better care? Like that doesn't make, Like, what? Because they're overly hyperly masculine. That means that just by default means they're gonna be like more caring, more like that. That motherfucker doesn't feel like home. Okay, same thing with my baby mama. I told my baby mama, like, because she like got mad about something, and she was like, fine, you could put the kid on the bus in the morning. And I was like, fine, I will, because I got a thing for the girls, the two nurses that pick them up and shit. And then like she tried to like intervene and was like, well, I'll just call the school and tell them you're not allowed to put them on or take them off the bus anymore. Basically destiny swapping, like, okay, like I'm supposed to meet somebody, right? Or this person's supposed to be in my life, but you come in and you intervene and you do something, so now that that person's no longer around. That's destiny swapping. You're changing destiny. God doesn't like that. Those people are, those mother figures are about to get punished. Okay, and this isn't just coming from me. This is a channeled reading that has came from other fucking channeled readers, not just myself. Okay. But they basically tried to destiny swap. And it's just insane to me. You know, my adopted mother, whenever I went to go and try to get an apology from her, she told me that I should have been grateful that, like, you go to your parent and tell them how they fucking harmed you and fucked your social skills up and your young adulthood up, and like kind of like gave you not a fair start at life, or any start at life, because if you never really got to choose anything, is your life even yours? If you never went after what you actually want to go after because you're always afraid, is your life even yours, or is it somebody else's? You could give your life to somebody else to control, but then you're just dead. You might as well like either grow or just off yourself at that point. Trust me, I know. I lived 10 years of it. I went from having my adoptive mother, who was very fucking controlling, in the ways that some of the ways we've talked about, to my father, who's, you know, an Aquarius, and there's Aquarius are two ways. They're either the freedom child, breaking the generational curses type of people, or they're they go the opposite around. They start becoming very controlling and overbearing. You know what I mean? Like my dad went the opposite route. He was very controlling and overbearing. I saw what he did to like my first love, and now I'm seeing the same thing play out again, but just through a different parent. It's like, and so I can't sit quiet on this. Like, I just can't. Like, as somebody who went through this injustice, as somebody who's seen it happen over and over again, I cannot just sit quiet and continue to allow family karmas and these demons to interrupt and destroy fucking families and destroy young daughters and destroy young men. It's like, it has to end. And it's only going to end if you call it out. Because if you don't call it out, then they still have all the goddamn power. They have all the power if you do not talk about it and you do not call it out. If you do not speak up, they have all the power. Being silent is actually more of a death than actually talking. Because, yeah, you could talk and people may, you know, reject you. They may throw you out. You may sacrifice your safety. But here's the thing I've learned. There's been so many times in my life where, over these past 10 years even, where I've been short on money, right? It's that time to move, the rent's up, or the lease or whatever's up. It's time to move. I barely have any money. I don't know where the fuck I'm going, right? Somehow the universe had always found a way to make sure that I was safe. Like, even when I got to Pittsburgh, like, I didn't know where I was going, but I ended up staying with a friend that was safe. Then I went to a shelter that was somewhat decently safe. and then I went, you see what I'm saying? Like, and even when I was like with my baby mama, like there was times that we were struggling and I was just like, I don't know where we're gonna go. Like, and then at the last fucking second, like for example, this one time in Shady Side, we didn't know where we were going, and then we find on like Marketplace like 2 days before we had to be out of the house, like 2 days or something like that. And she's like, yeah, I can meet you that day and we'll get the check that day. And then we moved in like the day before we had to be out the fucking house. Like things like that happen consistently. And so my point with that is to have faith and not be afraid, because God might just have you. You might just be protected by the divine, my love. You might just be protected by the divine. What's that saying? Bravery or fortune is awarded to the bravery, or the brave are awarded the fortune, or something like that. I think it's because all these brave actions and me just having faith and not knowing, but having faith is why these things have always worked out for me when they should, like, and it's always left people question, like, how's that working out? Why did that work out? I can't tell you, because even I don't know. It's divine, okay? Like, I just have divine, like, and my point is, through that experience, I know other people out there right now who are listening to me are afraid to speak up, stand up and say what they want. They just speak up in general. You don't have to be afraid. You're protected by the fucking divine. And if anything, you can fall back on me. Now, I'm not saying I'm always going to be around, because I have to protect myself. I have to live for myself. I have to save myself. But I'm always here. So what am I getting at? Why am I going on a rant, and why am I saying all of this stuff? Because I finally see the pattern with all these mother figures. I see the system. And also, it's very important to me that I call out the injustice, the erasure of autonomy, the control, the swapping of the bride, the giving the child away for marriage. I have to call that out. I can't save them. I can't play savior, and I'm not going to. They can choose whatever they want to choose. If they want to choose being with a fat, redneck, smelly motherfucker, then they could be with a fat, smelly, redneck-looking motherfucker who wants to think they're a goddamn demon. Which, honestly, should be the biggest fucking red flag. The motherfucker wears black eyes, a sign of demon, and you are literally in a house, born into a family of demons, because all they do is shame and control. Can you not see the fucking parallel? One demon is passing off the lamb, sacrificing the lamb to another demon before they, try to dip out on the world, because they know their time's up soon. And it's not just happening with them, it's happening with multiple women. Honestly, I think it also happened with my mother. I think that's how my mother and my dad had me and my sister. So this is generational. And that's what I'm getting at. And it hurts because, especially for me, someone like me, who keeps loving the same fucking person, and then they just get shamed when all they want to do is heal. Like, all you want to do is heal. All you want to do is, end past life karma, end generational karma, like, heal everything. And you get shamed for it. You want to heal yourself. You want to be free. You want to be wild. You want to be the wild feminine or the wild masculine. And you get shamed for it. Fuck shame. Fuck shame. And fuck the demons. Demons! Demon. Demon. With demons. On demand. Uh, but yeah. But yeah, I'm not really here to call anyone out specifically. I'm just here to call out really the cycle because it's connected from my baby mama to my adopted mama to my mom to partners of mine to this girl that and this friend that like it's just a pattern over and every single and then like if I don't break it now like it's just gonna continue happening. Next woman or man I meet, same thing. Their mother. And you know what's crazy to me? You know what's crazy to me is that like whenever I met my baby mama, her dad was originally like my friend's mother, like overly controlling, very protective, very bigoted, didn't want her with me whatsoever, even tried kidnapping her away from me at one point and doing like a whole intervention saying how she should be with like her ex-husband because it was a safer option. Like she went through all that too. And she still chose me. And people are like, oh, it would never work. Like, they're too chaotic. They're too free. They're too wild. Yet, look how long we lasted. Now, we didn't have the best relationship due to just both of us. Like, but we've also are still like the closest friend. And she's like a sister to me. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, and we've obviously been stable this entire time. We've never actually like slept on the sidewalk. You see what I'm saying? Thank God, bless God, thank you God. But like, um, she went through the same thing, and then like her dad like literally came around. Like her and her dad sees me as family, and like even let me live with him for a year at one point, like back in 2018 or whatever. Like a year and a half after her and I had like met and was seeing each other. And so it was like, and then within like 3 or 4 years time, he actually became a little more liberal. But my point being, you know, the crazy thing about him is I didn't even know this until after I was staying with him. At towards the end of staying with him, we were about to, go to our next location, and we were all just chilling on the porch. And he was like, I reached out to like one of my transgender. I'm not trans, but he thought I was trans. He's old. He's like in his 70s, so it's like whatever, okay. But it's the fact that it's what he did that mattered. It's the bigger picture, which is that he's like, I reached out to my trans friend to get the information and talk to them about what it's like so I could understand you better. And it's like, yo, that's real shit. That's real shit. Like, you saw that with your daughter. You know I've been with your daughter, right? You even let me stay with you. But now you took it a step further. Like, yo, let me actually understand this person. I don't want to ask questions, but let me ask somebody who may be like them and try to. You see what I'm saying? Like, but it was a fact that he didn't even really want me. And I broke that. Now their family went from being very bigoted. Now they still have like issues and shit, but like I broke their generational family karma basically, or I allowed them to help break it. Like I exposed the wounds and shit like that were being kept secret, so that everybody in the family could start healing. But it's the fact that if he could do that, I feel like any mother or father could do that with me. Or hell, even with you, the person that needs to speak up, the person who needs to be in my shoes or is in my shoes. Like, allow me to be your light. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Speak up. Do not live in silence. Silence is literally prison. Living to an image is literally prison. Having a double life is literally prison. Always remain authentic. Now, do I always remain authentic? No. Sometimes I betray myself in private. I'm always like, I'm always like, I always express both sides of myself, my womanhood and my manhood. Uh, but sometimes there's parts of my womanhood or whatever, or like that I don't express really in public that I guess I only express in private. But I guess that's not the same as like living a double life per se. what I'm thinking about. But the double lives are exhausting too, because you always got to keep up with what says what, like images. You gotta. I get to just wake up and be myself and just breathe, because I don't have to worry about no fucking image. I don't care about no, like, I care about my image. I care about the way God sees me, because at the end of the day, that's where I'm going. But like, as far as people on Earth, so like, do you know the most influential people who actually make history are labeled the villain? Or at least labeled the villain first before they're seen as the hero. Even Jesus Christ was seen as a villain for rebelling. It's interesting. A lot of families that are religious but don't want their children being like Jesus. I think that's all for now. If I have anything else to say, I'll be posting more videos. I'm feeling more confident. I feel like using my voice more. I feel like telling my story more. I will say an update in my life is that I feel very isolated and alone right now. Yeah, I feel very isolated and alone. Like, I can't trust anybody. That I'm surrounded by oppressors. Um, my baby mama's feeling pressure and cracking and breaking, and I'm feeling pressure, and my other friend that I'm with is on some weird shit right now, like keeping secrets and not keeping me updated on shit. And he's supposed to be selling this house. I don't even know what the fuck's going on with that. I don't know where. Like, this is what I'm talking about right now. For example, right now is a prime example. I'm staying with my friend, and he's selling his place. I spent this last year mostly healing myself, because before my last birthday, before my 27th birthday, I was mostly doing OnlyFans and like sex work and stuff. I've never been one for 9 to 5s. I've always been a hustler. Um, and I've never seen sex as shameful or taboo. I think that's stupid. It's cardinal. It's primal. It's part of being human. Like, and if you're a woman, like, and you want to make money, like, okay, great, you got money and dick. That's a double win. Like, get the fuck out of my face. But anyways, like, um, yeah, like he's selling that. I don't know where I'm going. I spent the whole fucking last year, because like around my birthday, I got hit with like these false accusation charges and shit from somebody who is, well, like my friend's mother and the mothers in my life. Very narcissistic, controlling, wants to control my image, control me, control the way I look, and if they don't, they try to take me down. But it never works, because I'm protected by God. Praise God, thank you, God. As well as dark forces. Um, I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna go. He claims he has me. I have faith in God, but see, that's the thing right now, is that it's the unknowing. I don't know if things are gonna work out, but I'm still taking a risk, and I have faith. How I do that, I wish I could tell you right now, because that's something I really want to drive, and why I'm like speaking on this, besides giving updates and just venting about what's emotionally like eating at me. Because I feel like I can't talk to fucking anybody. I feel like I'm isolated, and like everybody has just like turned away. Everybody who used to be there isn't there anymore, and people who weren't there just definitely aren't there. So it's like very alone, going through a lot of grief. I think our biggest lesson to learn is just trust. I think we're just going to keep repeating the same cycle over and over and over again until we learn to trust each other and ourselves. lots of trust issues, lots of healing needs done. Apparently, you know what sucks? I had this conversation with Spirit earlier, and it's been bothering me, but like, I really want my friend back. And well, I found out that apparently until she heals herself, Spirit's not allowing either of us to contact each other because Spirit and the higher sources do not want us going back to each other under false pretenses. They want us to come back to each other healed and as one, so that when we do come back to each other, it's it's for good, not under false pretenses. And as a healer, seeing them go through all this shit and feeling like I can't heal, I can't step in and do my part, especially as a protector, as somebody who's a healer and a protector. I feel like my hands are tied. All because of what I am. And what I represent, which is freedom and truth. All because I'm intersex. You see how like the demonic goes against what is rare and what is divine. What is godly. And, I keep trying to trigger the healing and shit, but it's like, you can't make anyone, like, they gotta choose the healing themselves. Like, I can help you heal and shit, and, like, it's like you can't help somebody that doesn't want to help, my heart's very fucking heavy. But yeah, I realized with the mother figures in my life, and this even includes my baby mama, even though she's not my mother, I said mother figures. I don't mean people who like are my like mothers, like adoptive mom, biological. I mean them as also. Although I can't really say too much about my biological mother. But for sure my adoptive mother and shit like that. My baby mama, even though she doesn't mother me, she's not my mother, she's still a mother in my life, a mother figure in my life. Like, you get the point. Anyways, all the mother figures in my life, including this woman that I love, this woman that's my friend, even though we're going through a rough patch at the moment. Her mother's the same way. They all do the same fucking thing, and here's what it is. You ready for it? Shame, control, weaponize, guilt, use love as a fucking leash. That's the carbon copy of every single fucking one of them. Shame your daughters, make them feel fucking, or sons, make them fucking feel guilty, guilt them into feeling fucking guilt or something. Weaponize their own emotions, and things like that against them, and then come in and love bomb them, give them love, and use that as your leash. They all do the same exact fucking thing. My own adoptive mother tried doing it to me. She did it to my fucking sister, till my sister ran away at the team because I ran away. I think I'm honestly the reason I think I'm the one that gave my sister strength to actually go and get autonomy and go after things. Now, granted, she ran into the hands of a fucking abuser who is a goddamn waste man. And is like average as fuck and very homophobic, very transphobic, very fits the image for the family name. We'll say that. And that's the big thing that they care about. You know what my mother actually told me, and this is an important point that I want to make. My mother, I go back and get an apology from my adoptive mother for all the trauma she made me feel, all the shame, all the because of how it affected me into my adult life. And I tried to explain this to her, like how it affected my adult life and shit like that. She told me that I didn't deserve an apology because I deserved being bullied. I deserved everything I went through because of who I was and what I was. So because I was intersex, because I was feminine, because I was rebellious, because I was bisexual, because I was a truth teller, because I was wild, because I was free, I deserved all the trauma she gave me, all the guilt tripping, all the lies, all the control, all the manipulation, all of it. I don't expect anyone to understand unless they've like, you know, dated somebody who's like a carbon copy of their like mother or their father, like dating the person that whether their childhood traumas and wounds are just on repeat over and over and over. Just look at the signs, look at the subtleties, look at the behaviors. It's not a coincidence, it's generational. That's another reason why I'm calling out this fucking arrangement. Not only is it going against autonomy, not only is it fucking destiny swap, and not only is it fucked up, not only is it going against what the girl actually fucking desires and wants, and she may claim that, like, yeah, she wants to marry him, but she's lying to herself, and her body is snitching on her. Her body is fucking snitching on her. Especially when my name is brought up, or she's in, especially 100%, especially when she's in proximity with me. When we are having eye contact or we can visually see each other, body says everything automatically. Like there's not like her mouth, like she may want to say one thing, but the body automatically overrides and will tell the truth every single time. So, yeah, like if I didn't care, I wouldn't, like, you know. But it's generational. Like, okay, like, I just think you know, it should end. I think people should be more aware. I think like my story and things that I've witnessed and that I've gone through and things I think it just like this is something that somebody out there needs to hear, because after what I've realized and saw tonight, everything just connects. Everything fucking connects.